Hello and welcome to the Back Nine Report. My name is Carlos Torres, along with Altvater. We check in on the world of golf to bring you the latest news, insights, analysis, interviews, recaps, previews. Hey, we cover anything and everything golf. In other words, if it happened in golf, we have it for you. Fred, hi, how are you today?
Hey, Carlos, fantastic. We're here in Orlando this week, getting ready for the PGA show coming up on Wednesday. Demo day is tomorrow. It's a little cool here. It's in the 50s, 60s, but a sunny day. It's beautiful. Looking forward to the show and getting into it, I guess, this week a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. And we today are going to talk about a special guy and a special player that is up and coming, and you got to have him on your radar. And his name is Akshay Bhatia. We talked about him a few years ago when he was a teenage phenom, just a couple of years ago in the golf world. We talked, hey, he bypassed college to turn pro at 17. But then, and he looked great. I mean, he was one of these guys that you say he has all the shots, he should be able to do it. But then he had one of the worst seasons of his young life. He turned pro in September 2019, but then missed a cut in all 6 of his PGA Tour starts. Then last season, he made 4 cuts in 11 starts. His best finish was a T9 at the Safeway Open. You can say, well, Safeway Open is not a big tournament that has all the stars there. So T9 is not that big a thing. Anyway, T9 anywhere is a good thing. So, however, the pandemic apparently gave him time to reflect. He went back to his coach and changed his thoughts. And to me now, he's like the brightest Indian origin talent in the world right now. Akshay Bhatia, he won his first event on the Korn Ferry Tour. He's just 12 days shy of his 20th birthday. And he shot a 7 under final round 65 to win the Korn Ferry Tour's Bahamas Great Exuma Classic at the Sandals Emerald Bay. And he became, by the way, the 3rd youngest winner in the tour's history behind Sungjae Im and Jason, who both were a few months younger than Bhatia when they won. By the way, they was the youngest at 19 years, 7 months, and 26 days. And I gotta say this, if you haven't seen Bhatia in action, that would really highly recommend you take a look at his supremely athletic, how can I describe it? It's like a fearless only as a teenager can be golf swing. Because the teenagers don't have any fears when they were doing that. He's coached by George Gankas, which is the same guy who has the temerity to coach Matthew Wolf. So Bhatia to me is just like a force of nature. Now, Fred, how long can he keep this free-flowing golf swing remains to be seen, and maybe you can attest to that. But most pros eventually they refine their swings to shorter, repeatable actions as times goes on. Probably he will, but you never know. I mean, these millennials are like different, and Bhatia seems to be no exception. So, Fred, to close it up, I mean, he has a confidence that belies his youth. He's brimming with confidence, and he's in a league, I think, different from any of his contemporary golfers, the teenagers or those youngers, 20, 21 and under. So it goes until someone better even comes along. But I think that for now, I think he's finally getting, after that time of reflection, it seems like he's getting the confidence that he needs. And who knows, maybe he'll be able to achieve his goal of winning 3 times on the Korn Ferry Tour and be immediately promoted to the PGA Tour.
Well, to answer, one of your comments, the long golf swing. So he's a left-hander, right? And so we all know that left-handers think about things a little bit differently than the rest of the world. Think Bubba Watson. He's got kind of a long golf swing, right? And those long golf swings work as long as you can stay flexible and healthy. They have a way of, you can pull shoulders out, you can mess your back up, all those kind of things. So it's going to behoove him to keep doing flexibility stuff so that he can turn and get that big swing going. So I want to talk a little bit. I'm going to talk a little bit about where he's come from so that people understand, and also talk just a little bit about, is it really that good to turn pro when you're that young? Well, you mentioned two names, Sungjae Im and Jason Day, who both won on the Korn Ferry Tour, just a little bit younger than what Bhatia did. And their careers have turned out pretty good, right? Sungjae Im won the 3 times on the Korn Ferry, moved right up to the PGA Tour. Has had a very successful 3 or 4 years on the PGA Tour thus far. Jason Day has had a great career, would have been even better, but he has fought injuries his whole career, really. But he was, for a while, one of the premier players in the world. Did he reach #1, or he was real close to it, #2 maybe? So it worked out good for those guys turning pro young. I think Kevin Na turned pro at 17 or 18 years old as well. He's had a very long career. Would I advise it? I would never advise anybody to do that. I think kids miss out on so much. The college years are so important to get out there and do some things that you're not going to be able to do the rest of your life and grow up a little bit. But 19 years old, he wins, third youngest player, carded to the 65 on Sunday. He gets 135,000 for the win. We've seen in past years, and we're guessing that if it's anything like the last couple of years, it's going to take about 340,000 in earnings to get your card for next year to finish in the top 25. So he's already, about a third, a little more than a third of the way there to that. So he still needs some top 10s. Like you say, if he happens to get 2 more wins, he moves right up. But he's going to need a few more top 10s, make a few more cuts to guarantee his card for next year. So in his amateur career, I mean, he had a good amateur career. I mean, I think at one time he was #4 in the world as an amateur. He played on the Walker Cup team, turned pro right after the 2019 Walker Cup, actually. He played on the Junior Ryder Cup and the Junior President's Cup teams. So he did really well in that. He won the 2019 Jones Cup. So he was 2018 AJGA Player of the Year. So, I mean, he had a very strong amateur career, no question about it, and decided to turn pro right away. And as a pro, it's been kind of slow going. As you said, he didn't make very many cups. The high point was the 9th at the Safeway Plus. He qualified and finished, he made the cut, finished T57 in the 2020 US Open at Torrey Pines. So that was good. In his own words, he admitted that I struggled mentally. I missed every cut. I had a lot of people expecting me to play well, and it just didn't happen. As you're a kid, nobody's going to beat you. I mean, you can just go out and beat anybody, right? As a kid, and when you're a good amateur, yeah, you go out and beat the other kids, no problem. But when you jump from the amateurs to the pros, these guys have been at it a while. This is the best of the best. You're not playing against kids anymore. So, you're going to take your lumps. You're going to get beat up a little bit. You're just going to have to learn. So, he's bounced around a couple of years. I think he's learned some things. They're not surprising that he struggled at first. Justin Rose missed 20 cuts, right? He finished. He was what, 3rd or 4th in the Open Championship, and he missed. And after he turned pro, he missed 20 cuts in a row. So, I mean, it happens to everybody, especially when they're young kids. So, Carlos, it appears that Akshay Bhatia may go on and have a very successful PGA Tour career. I would never advise anyone to become a professional at that young of an age, especially professional golf. While other kids are attending toga parties or chasing girls and getting a college education, he's beating golf balls and missing cuts. That's not a lot of fun. So it's a very difficult job for someone that's an adult, let alone a 19-year-old kid. So with all this being said, Carlos, a kid winning a Korn Ferry Tour event, are we making too much out of this?
I don't know. I mean, winning anywhere, we've talked about this. To win at any level is an achievement. At his age, like you were mentioning, history is on his side. If he follows up on the ones that we have seen already, become successful, like Sungjae Im and Jason Day. I mean, those are two great, especially Jason Day. Unfortunately, like you mentioned, injuries have been his Achilles heel there, but he became world number one, and he's one of the most talented players when he's on and he's healthy. Unfortunately, that hasn't been the case for him. For a player to win 3 times in the Korn Ferry Tour, that doesn't even says that you're going to be successful in the PGA Tour. So we've seen that happen before, and unfortunately, it doesn't secure that you're going to be great. Now, somebody like with his resume and for what we have seen, still to be seen how he's going to react to, because he's not going to win every week. And right now they're playing the Great Abaco there in Bahamas, which is that swing that they have in Bahamas, and he's projected to miss the cut. So, right now coming from that high going to the low of another cut, what is going to be really on his mind is really what's going to dictate what's going to be the remainder of this year for him. He has the ability, he has the resume. One thing that he does have, and I'm not going to critique him for this, right? But his caddy right now is his girlfriend, which he met last year and all that. And there's been a lot of talk about it, and the way that they met, about him sliding wrongly on the DMs of her Instagram account and all that stuff. But at the same time, she had never known golf before. So as you get into the nitty gritty of bigger tournaments, how is she going to be able? And this, maybe you can expand more, more about caddies, but the caddies are really important when you're getting into those tough situations. For one of the things that I can say that could be a negative is, like, at the end of that tournament, he started that round 3 shots behind the final round. And his goal was, let me get a top 10 so I can play next week. Now he wins, but as he was finishing and he started to see the switch on the score, he's the one to tell her, his caddy, right? Hey, no, I'm going to change the plan. I'm going to go for it. So at this time, he's not depending on the help of the caddy or just that interaction with it. How far or how long are you going to keep her as your caddy? How that relationship is going to go, and is it going to help him? He's still also a tall, lanky guy. Maybe he's going to have to put some weight into it to really try to. I'm not saying a Bryson DeChambeau, but you have to put some weight and some strength there to maintain your body, because he has a free swing, and anything can happen there. So yeah, I mean, the jury's still out, but I think that if he keeps the path that he's going, he could be a good start. I'm not going to say he's going to be the number one in the world, but I certainly think he can make it to the PGA Tour.
2 things takeaway on that, Carlos. Number one, I really think for him, the biggest thing, 2 things coming out of this tournament for him is, number one, the money, because that gets him a leg up against everybody else getting his card and staying in the top 25 to get his card for next year. That's number one. But number 2, the confidence. When you've come through a 2-year stretch where nothing's really working, and all of a sudden you win, and like you said, you win on any level. I don't care if it's a mini tour event. I don't care what it is, a Korn Ferry Tour event, that gives you a big shot of confidence. You say, hey, I belong here. I can do this. And so I think that's the biggest thing for him going forward. And he may be one of these guys like Phil and like Rory, who we see are erratic. They're not consistent like a Sungjae Im, where you're just doing top 10s or top 25s every week, right? You may win, miss a couple cuts, then have a top 10, miss a couple cuts, and then have another win or something, So he may be like that. We don't know. And then to address the caddy thing, it's all fun and games when you're a kid. He's living life. He's got his sponsors. He probably signed for a few $1 million of sponsors when he turned pro. That's probably why he did it. He's probably still working off that money. He's okay, but he's going to have to start making more and more money. She, as a caddy, is not going to help him long term. And to build their relationship, she, as his caddy, is not going to work long time when they're young. You can see Steve Stricker and his wife go out there. That'll work. They've been together a long time. They know how each other works. Okay. You know this, you've been married. So that's not going to work when you're real young. because things go bad on a golf course and you're looking to blame anybody but yourself. The golf ball, the club, the caddy, somebody, right? You're going to be moody. Things are going to happen. And that's not where you want your significant other right there, right at that minute. So right now, she probably brings a balance for him. You know, think about other things besides golf and how bad you're playing or whatever. So that's a good thing. But long term, that's probably not going to work. And it sounds good. It makes a great story right now for Golf Digest or whoever. But you know, I just don't see it working a long time. But the biggest thing he got out of this was the confidence that he can do this now and go forward.
Definitely. And of course, like when he turned pro at 17, we'll be following him. I mean, he's one of those young players, maybe the most recognizable 21 and under player right now that we can talk about. So we'll see. I mean, it's just one. He's just about to miss the cut. He's at two over right now, and apparently the projected cut is going to be 2 under. I mean, 1 under. So he's not going to make it. So like I said, let's see how he bounced back after a big win, the low of a cut. He went through it for 2 years, so we'll see how now the confidence is it shaking, what is going to happen, but definitely a kid to look for. So anyway, thank you for joining us. It's always our pleasure to bring you the latest in the world of golf news and information. So please subscribe to our channel so you can stay up to date. As soon as we get a new video, you'll get the notification. Thank you for joining us.